Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino, back to do this absolutely lovely post-market wrap-up on this Thursday, October 4th, 2018. I'm going to talk about a bunch of things today and try to not just put a perspective on what happened today, but a whole bunch of things. And so bear with me, and I'm going to ask you for a favor. If you think anything I cover here is important, I could always use a thumbs up, and if you would be so kind, please share this video. So look, it is no secret. I mean, it's being called a bloodbath on the mainstream financial channels, what we're seeing here in the bond market. Literally, unless you are completely disconnected from anything that's happening in the world, you have a clue as to what's happening here. We have seen moves in this bond market, specifically the 10-year yield, which the 10-year yield, let me just say this real quick, is so important because it affects the prices of pretty much everything. And a lot of mortgage rates, for example, are based off of what the 10-year is doing. So I cannot overstress the importance of the 10-year yield. And I talk about it all the time to the point where it's just ridiculous. But I think if you follow this blog, you have a very good understanding of how important the debt market is to the valuation or valuations of everything else. You know this, that everything prices off of what's happening in the debt market. We have been in an artificial environment for now the better part of a decade. You all know this. I'm just going to say it real quick in case you're new here. World central banks artificially suppressing interest rates for now over a decade, since the meltdown of 2008. It's a managed market. There's no other way to put it. If the largest aspect of the market is being controlled by central banks, then no other asset's price is real. There is not a price discovery mechanism behind it. Okay. So what I'm trying to do is set the groundwork here for you so you can understand the importance of the debt market. Everyone's fixated on the stock market. Well, let's talk about that real quick. At one point today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was down 356 points, I believe it was. We did finish down, but only down about 200 points. There was a lot of buying when it got really, really low there. I'm not surprised to see that, and I believe we're going to see a few other things occur. And that's what I want to cover as well. But what you're not being told, and what the premise of this entire video is, and what no one is even talking about, is who's selling. Who's dumping all of this debt onto the market? Well, again, you should have a very big clue if you follow the world of politics or the markets. I mean, it's glaring us in the face. So today in the market, actually over the past several days, where we've watched the bond market turn into a bloodbath. I mean, this is not my words. I'm using the mainstream term here. It is a bloodbath. There's no doubt about it. The moves that we have seen cannot be underestimated in such a short period of time. It's incredible. It really is. Just a few days ago, the U.S. 10-year yield was 3.03. As I am doing this, it's 3.19. I mean, that's a tremendous move in a short period of time. In order for that to happen, an absolutely enormous amount of debt would have to be dumped onto the market. Let me put a perspective on this for you. And if you follow this blog, there's no one on this earth that's more aware of what I'm about to say. The bond yields are kept where they are by the buying and selling of debt. You all know that. The Federal Reserve, world central banks can't just say it. They can't mouth it what they want to keep the yields at. They have to get into the market and make it happen. They have to find a buyer for the debt. You understand? Either they're buying it themselves, the Federal Reserve, or the world central banks for their own economies, or they have to sell it to another country. Now, we all understand that we are in a full-blown 100% trade war. And our president keeps talking about how he's going to hit China with more tariffs. So let's put this into a logical perspective. Which nation on this earth is the largest holder of U.S. debt? It's China. About $1.1, $1.2 trillion of U.S. debt. Okay. China, since the trade wars have started now, has not been buying U.S. debt. That slack has had to be taken up by the Federal Reserve, other nations around the world. Now let me ask you this. Why do you believe that, let's say, a country like China is holding U.S. debt? You think it's because they like us so much? Do you think it's because it's such a good deal? Well, let me put a perspective on that for you. China, in case you don't know, has their own debt market. Yeah, just like we do. As a matter of fact, their bonds yield higher than ours. So if they were to buy their own debt, well, they would be earning more cash. China, okay, and I've covered this before. These people are very shrewd and they're very smart. I covered months ago, how China, how they would retaliate against the United States and these tariffs here by weaponizing the debt. So what I'm trying to say, put this together in your own head. It's not that hard. China, the largest holder of debt, nation holding our debt on the planet Earth, has not been buying our debt since this trade war has started. Now they're using it as a weapon. It's obviously China who's dumping debt here. This is a message directly to our president. This is a language. What we are witnessing here is a language, okay? China is telling our president, okay, fine. You want to hit us with some more tariffs? Well, I'm going to weaponize your Achilles heel. Our debt here in the United States is our Achilles heel. Again, you all know this. The debt bubble is epic. It's a global phenomenon. And China, again, is not holding our debt there because they like us so much or because it's yielding more than their debt market. Absolutely not. China has been acquiring our debt and our currency. I mean, they also hold vast amounts of dollars, okay, in digital form, printed form, whatever, for this exact reason. China's been well aware for a very long time that if the United States were to try to do something like we're doing now, all they would need to do is weaponize the debt. And that's exactly what they're doing. And believe what I am telling you here. You can think all you want and believe the propaganda, all right? The fact of the matter is, this trade war that we are in is almost unwinnable because of the fact China has been preparing for this for decades. And they will, what we saw today was an inkling of what China is capable of doing. It's unbelievable. Just small. These moves in the bond market we have seen are rocking the stock market. The stock market is President Trump's Achilles heel, for which he touts every single day when we hit a new record high. Do you believe that our president is going to come out today and tell you that the market sold off? Do you believe our president is going to tell you that China is what's behind dumping U.S. debt like this? Of course not. You won't hear that because the propaganda is we're winning. You know this. The last days of World War II, the German people believed right up until the end that they were winning the war. Why? Propaganda. They were being told. That's the truth here. The United States, the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. We're not the richest. We're the largest debtor nation in the history of the world. There's nothing like it. Our debt to GDP ratio over 100%. We're in a lot of trouble here. And our very lifestyles have been subsidized by nations around the world buying our debt. Why are they buying our debt? And it's not just China who's holding vast amounts of our debt here. Any one of these countries could hurt us. Could we hurt them back? Absolutely we could. But not like China can. And today was a clear example of this. And again, this is a language going on here. China is letting President Trump know who's your freaking daddy. That's what's going on here. And I know you don't want to hear that, but that is the truth. And it's an unfortunate reality of what's going on here. Think about all the stuff that I just covered. China has their own debt market. Why do they own our debt? Why not buy their own debt that actually is paying more than ours right now? Because they like us so much? They've been subsidizing our lifestyle. They've been holding the debt and those dollars for this exact reason. So Trump playing 4D chess, he's going to be playing checkers overnight, because I can promise you, Trump is going to back off. He has no choice here. It's very, very simple, people. I don't know what else to tell you. Let me enlighten you on a few other things that are going on here. Yes, the issue with yields rising is a global phenomenon right now, in case you're not aware of that. We have emerging markets, and you don't hear about this either. Their currencies are melting down. How are their respective central banks trying to deal with it? Well, by raising rates. You understand? Look, I can't stress this to you enough, people. The situation we are in, we're on a knife's edge on a global level with regard to the debt. It's a bubble. It's going to pop. But let me say this as well. This was a salvo over the past couple of days across the bow of the United States that was fired by China to show President Trump, don't even dream about hitting us with more tariffs. Don't think about it. Believe me, he's going to shut his mouth. He will shut his mouth on this. It's his Achilles heel. It's the only thing he talks about day after freaking day. It's disgusting, in my opinion here. He knows the market's not real. He said it during the campaign. He admitted that the valuations of this market were astronomical. He admitted that the debt was something he had to deal with, deficits. He admitted that the Federal Reserve was artificially propping up the bond market. He said this during the campaign, but now, where did all that go? You understand? So if there's anyone that's playing chess here, it's not our president at all. I don't think he has a clue as to what's going on right now. It's really the truth. If you put this into the grand scheme, it's propaganda across the spectrum. Now, with that said, there is a very strong possibility that now that this seems to play out here, if bonds stabilize where they are now, okay, there's no red lines in the sand here. There is no, although it looks like there is. It depends on the dollar. If President Trump decides to back off on his rhetoric here, what would happen to the dollar? The knee-jerk into the dollar, making it stronger, will wane. The dollar will weaken. Yeah, yields might stay higher. We know yields are rising around the world. I just covered that for you. But if the dollar weakens, even if the 10-year yield remains where it is, this, sit down for this one, is stock market positive. I would not be surprised to see, especially after, look what happened at the end of the day today. We went from down 356 points to only down 200 with regard to the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Everyone focuses on that. I would not be surprised to see this market now rebound. Very possible. It's absolutely possible. Let me say this real quick for all of you traders out here. If you are watching this on my website, or if you're not watching this on my website, and you want to see all of my open credit spreads, I'm laughing here today. This market's down 356 points. I'm sitting here laughing. I'm sitting here laughing because if you look at all of the positions I sold onto the market, none of them are near my strike price. So me, I'm sitting pretty. This is why I'm stressing to you to learn credit spreads. It's not that hard. Those unfortunates who are out here on the long end in this market using like a naked put or a call, you got slaughtered. Absolutely slaughtered today. Me? Hell no. I am net long this market, but I am sitting pretty. And so should you be. Learn credit spreads. It's not that hard. All right, look. I hope I put a perspective on this real quick and understand what we're seeing today. Nobody is talking about who is dumping the bonds. You know who's dumping these bonds right now. It's as plain as this hand that's in front of your face right now. The debt is being weaponized, and this is nothing to what China can do if they wanted to. China could win a war against the United States right now without firing a single shot. There is no doubt about it. Our debt is a monstrous liability, one that our president promised to fix. No, he thought it would be better to deal with a whole bunch of other things than tout our stock market and have our Federal Reserve keep their foot to the floor by telling them not to raise rates, causing greater distortions. But wait a minute. He said the Federal Reserve was keeping rates low under Obama to artificially prop up stocks. Oh, what happened to that? Hello? I think you get it, people. Look, I'm just telling you the way it is. You know I voted for President Trump. Candidate Trump was a lot different than this guy. This guy, I don't even recognize him. All right, with that said, I hope this made sense to you. If you think this has been important, people need to understand the bond market, what's going on, how China has their own bond market, why they're holding U.S. debt, why they're holding U.S. dollars. I mean, this should make sense to you. If it doesn't make sense to you, I have to say you're pretty lost. All right, please share this video. Get it out there. I could always use the thumbs up. And we'll just see where all this goes down the line. See you in the morning.